From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Thursday the 12th of May. Good afternoon. Today we'll be discussing some of the biggest stories, including Sadiq Khan's new drug commission and an Al Jazeera reporter shot in cold blood. We'll also be answering today's big question, what's been going on in Sri Lanka, as well as discussing the updates regarding the Northern Ireland Protocol. But first, updates on Russian war crimes in Ukraine. Russia has been accused by many countries of committing war crimes in their invasion of Ukraine. So far, though, there hasn't been much movement internationally to start the process of holding the Russian state to account for these crimes. It's pretty tricky to do and will inevitably take quite a long time. Holding individuals to account, though, can be easier. For the first time since the beginning of the war, a Russian soldier accused of war crimes will face trial in Ukraine. According to the Russian Prosecutor General, the 21-year-old captured Russian sergeant has been charged with the killing of a Ukrainian man in his 60s who was shot while pushing a bicycle. It's not yet known when the trial will begin. The President and Prime Minister of Finland have today announced their intention to apply for NATO membership. Their joint statement said Finland must apply for NATO membership without delay. The decision follows recent assurances by Western nations, including the UK and US, that they would be given protection during the application process. Their decision to take Finland into NATO marks a huge shift in policy after decades of neutrality and comes at a time of significant international tension due to the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. Finland shares an 810-mile land border with Russia and is undoubtedly fearful that Russia could turn their focus onto them in the near future. Finland's neighbour Sweden is expected to make its own decision on NATO membership shortly. Like Finland, Sweden has experienced a large shift in opinion towards favouring joining the military alliance since Russia invaded Ukraine. There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your daily routine. Or just search for us on your podcast app to listen along. Prominent Al Jazeera journalist Shireen Abu Akleh was shot and killed by Israeli forces, the network said, while covering a military raid on the Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. She was wearing a blue helmet and flak jacket marked with the word press when she was killed. Another Palestinian journalist was also shot but is in a stable condition. The Israeli military said its troops were returning fire after being shot at and originally suggested that Abu Akleh was shot by Palestinian gunmen, though they have since said that at the moment it is not possible to determine where the bullets came from. The EU, US and UN have all called for the killing to be investigated. Israeli authorities said that the Palestinian Authority had rejected its offer of a joint investigation. The Palestinian Authority said it was investigating and would refer the case to the International Criminal Court. Moving to the US now, and Senate Democrats have failed in an attempt to pass legislation designed to codify the right to an abortion into federal law, ahead of a potential overturning of Roe v. Wade by the Supreme Court. The legislation needed 60 votes to overcome the Senate filibuster, but ended up with 49 in favour and 51 against. All Republican senators and one Democrat, Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia, opposed the measure. The outcome was expected, but Democrats forced the vote anyway with the intention of getting Republican opposition to protecting abortion rights on the record, in the hope that the issue will be front and centre of the midterm elections in November. Moving to the UK now, and Mayor of London Sadiq Khan has launched an expert commission to examine the effectiveness of UK policy towards non-Class A drugs, particularly cannabis. Khan said an honest, open conversation about the evidence relating to UK cannabis law was needed, and added that the UK Drugs Commission, which was also part of his re-election manifesto, would do this. He made the announcement following a visit to a cannabis farm and dispensary in California, which was the latest stop on his 4-day tour of the United States to promote investment in London. The Commission will make recommendations to London City Hall, the government, the police and other relevant institutions. And while the Mayor does not have the power to change criminal law, he could influence the conversation. However, both the government and the current Labour leadership oppose decriminalising cannabis and shows no indication of changing their stances. That's all we have time for on YouTube today, but if you want more, including answering today's big question, what's going on in Sri Lanka, and our discussion of the Northern Ireland Protocol, then watch the extended edition of the Daily Briefing over on Nebula. Nebula subscribers not only get everything you've already watched ad-free, but also an extended edition of the show every single day, available to watch on Nebula or stream on your podcast app of choice. So if you want to support the channel and get a more extensive daily briefing every day, you'll want to sign up. And there's good news. Our friends at CuriosityStream, the streaming service which offers some of the best documentaries, is offering a deal whereby you can get both platforms, CuriosityStream and Nebula, for less than $15 a year. That's all the best documentaries you could want on CuriosityStream, and then more TLDR on Nebula, including the extended briefing, other full exclusive TLDR videos, and it's always ad-free. Click the link below to get both services for less than $15 a year and support the channel.